If you're a filmmaker, you're going to want to hear about this. Canon is working on an affordable RF mount cinema camera. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Simon. Thanks for tuning into The Ordinary Filmmaker. If you're new here, subscribe to get notification of new videos like this one so you don't miss out on any news. And all the links to everything I talk about in this video, including gear discussed, are placed in the description down below. But before I get into the news, I want to let you know how I'm recording this video. I'm recording this in 4K, 29.97 frames per second, but I'm doing it in IPB, and I want to see if you guys notice the difference. Normally, I would do these videos in 1080. So I'm doing it in 4K, 29 frames per second in IPB. All right, so let's get back to the news. Now, the idea of an RF mount cinema camera costing $4,500, that almost seems too good to be true, doesn't it? But that's exactly what Canon Rumors published this morning. The camera is capable of 4K, 10-bit internal, 422, both all-I and IPB, and it can record in up to 120 frames per second. Seems pretty good already, doesn't it? Now, if the price is correct, this would put it at only about, what, $700 more than the R5? But be a dedicated video camera without any photo compromises. It will have the same super 35mm sensor that is found in the C200. It will have not one but two UHS 2 card slots and a single CF Express card slots. Now, me personally, I'd actually prefer to see dual CF Express card slots, and if you've been with me for a while, you'll probably go, wait a minute, Simon, I thought you said that you preferred UHS 2 cards. Well, I did, but if you shoot a lot of 4K video, you actually end up with gigabytes upon gigabytes of information, and the speed difference between CF Express and UHS is more than enough to cover that lost time. So you can literally save a minimum of hours each week by just transferring content off the cards. Now, the unnamed camera is capable of 4K RAW, up to 120 frames per second, but externally. Now, it sounds pretty good, but where is the cripple hammer going to strike? Canon loudly proclaimed 8K on the R5 and 4K 120 for months, only to find out that the R5 suffers from long cooldown times, making these modes unusable to most professionals. The unnamed camera is smaller than the 1DX Mark III, but fully kitted out, well, it's going to weigh more and it's going to take up a lot more space, not going unnoticed. But that being said, I do find this camera very interesting, and I'm eager to know more. While it's out of the reach of most ordinary filmmakers, if you're serious about getting into filmmaking, this camera should be considered. Questions I'd want answered before considering this camera, though, are what are its operating temperatures? Does it have any record limits before overheating, or does it overheat at all? Can it operate in hot and humid environments? And what active cooling system does it employ, if any? But I'm more interested to know what you think about this. Are you serious about getting into filmmaking? Does this camera interest you in any way whatsoever? Let me know in the comments section down below, but also let me know what you thought of the quality of this video. Normally I shoot it in 1080, but I shot this entire video in IPB, and my guess is, not having looked at it obviously yet, is that it's going to look perfectly fine. I've got a very simple black background. There's nothing moving around in the scene other than me with a bit of hand movement and my head moving a little bit. I really think that IPB in this type of scenario is going to do a terrific job. Now, on the downside, it's going to require a little bit more processing on my computer. So will I record in IPB if this looks fine? No, not at all. I like all-I. The computer can handle it, process it a whole lot quicker, and with a 325 gigabyte card, I'm not really worried about 4K taking up much space. With a minimum read time, or with a read time of around 1700 or 1600 megabytes a second, it's going to come off that card so quick, so I'm not really worried about it. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.